Okay, hello everybody. My name is Michelle Stuchel and I'm a Sapphire Ambassador. And welcome to our inaugural book study on atomic habits. And I have to say that my heart is pounding through my chest for several reasons. And one of them is because I'm so excited about this book. Funny story. About, was it 2 or 3 weeks ago? I just decided to order this book and on hardback and on Audible, and I started listening to it and I started messaging Brittany, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, this can change everything. And this is the roadmap for us to achieve our goals and get where we want to be. And even more than that, not just with our business, but for our entire lives. And I like steam was coming from my ears. Little did I know, Brittany had just ordered the book. And Christina had ordered the book, and all these things lined up. So I want you to know that this is the absolute right time for us as a team to be studying this. It is the right time, the right word. You are in the right place, because if you take these things and put them into practice, it really does have the potential to change your life. Because what we're talking about here is life principles that stand the test of time. For real, because we're not just talking about habits. And if you've read chapter 2, you know what I'm talking about. And you'll have to forgive me if I get a little teary-eyed, because I feel the weight of this. Like I was telling Brittany all week, like I feel the weight of this, because this isn't just a skill set book that we're talking about, how to send great messages to get some recruits. This isn't just, 10 easy steps to achieving the life of your dreams. This is about becoming who you truly want to be and who God always intended you to be. So let's dig in and let's start with chapter 1. Okay, the surprising power of atomic habits. This is so great. Success is the product of your daily habits, not secret sauce, lottery ticket, once in a lifetime transformation. Your habits are the building blocks of your lives. And it is easy to overestimate the importance of having one defining moment, the big arrival or the big join or the big moment. But we underestimate the value of making small, incremental improvements on a daily basis. And that is truly what makes the difference for the most successful people. And he says this, small habits, small atomic atoms, right? I mean, they're not the smallest building blocks anymore. We know that, but work with me here. Small habits, small changes can make a huge difference if repeated on a daily basis, incrementally. If you make a 1% better change, if you get better 1% over time, over a year, you can be 30 times better, 37 times better than before. But if you make a 1% decline, bad choices, or I would even say the same choices that are not getting you the results, because there is no neutral, right? When you get into the ocean, you don't stay in the same place you got in. You're either moving forward or you're moving backward. Will take you back down to zero. And this is what it looks like. I hope you guys all have, if you don't have the audio book, you don't have it. I want to share my screen so you see what 1% better looks like. Okay, Brittany, I see you. Do you see me? Do you see that screen? Okay, this is what 1% better over a year looks like. Do you see this J curve? This is a J curve, right? That is how your results can look. If you grow 1% better every single day. Okay. Now, why is that important? Or let me say this. Why is this important? Because habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. The effects of your habits multiply as you repeat them. Did you see how long that graph was almost like at a flat line until it curved up all of a sudden? It's the compound effect. They seem to make little difference on any given day, and yet the impact they deliver over time, over the months and years, can be enormous. You're starting here, starting here, starting here, and then it exponentially grows. And why is this hard? Why do we discount small changes over time? Because we want immediate results. We want to go to the gym 3 times a week and not eat dessert for a week and expect to look like a bikini model. We want to send out 10 messages and get 3 joins. We want to read one verse in the Bible a day and then hear God say, this is the way, walk in it. You know what I mean? We don't see results fast enough, so we dismiss small changes as unimportant. Well, I reached out to a few people and I got ignored. I took ProBio 5 for a week and I still feel like junk. We understand this as business owners with our products, right? I tell people that I join, I say, you know what? Our products work, but not if they stay in the bottle. You have to take our products every single day to get results. And we understand that in Plexus, right? We understand that it takes consistency over time. We've all seen that fabulous Jessica Hogendorn video about proper expectations. Watch that video about proper expectations with habit formation. Same concept. If you have right habits, right systems over time, they produce the desired results. Do you remember what he said, what progress looks like in the book? I love that. He gave the ice cube example. You've got a room, right? And you've got an ice cube sitting on the table, right? And the room is cold and it starts off at what? He says 25 degrees. And then you turn it up to 27 degrees, 28 degrees, 29 degrees, 30, 31. Ice cube's still an ice cube. 32. All of a sudden, the ice cube starts to melt. You remember the popcorn example? I love popcorn. You put popcorn in an air popper or in a microwave, and for the longest time, there's nothing. Then all of a sudden, a pop, 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 pop. And then you have a nice big bowl of popcorn because it's heat and pressure over time that yields the results. The problem is we think that our success is supposed to be linear and quick, and we can get frustrated because we feel like we're being ineffective because we're not seeing results. Remember what he calls this? He calls this, I'll share my screen again. He calls this the plateau of latent potential. We can get discouraged. And you know what? I'm just going to be real with you. I had to battle this week. I don't remember what day I had a coaching call with Brittany, Monday or Tuesday. And I woke up, I'm a Sapphire ambassador, okay? I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just saying I have a measure of success under my belt when it comes to the business, right? And I had to deal with mind trash because I was sitting here thinking, I've been sending out all these messages and I have a goal. I want to attract and develop more business builders. And I started to get down on myself because I wasn't seeing the results that I wanted to see quickly enough. I was right there. Do you see that? What you think should happen? Because I was thinking, this is linear. I do this is what happens immediately. And this is, I think it was in the 12-week year, we talked about this, the valley of disappointment. Do you remember we had this same graph? And a lot of us get stuck, whether it's in our business or our weight loss journey or, mastering any kind of skill. We expect things should happen more quickly than they do. And we don't understand that the repeated right actions over time will compound and yield the desired result if we just do not stop. But we have to continue the right action over time so we get that J curve. It's the difference between our expectation and reality. Our success is not linear. Now, let me show you some advice. An example of this. Okay, let me see if I can't see my menu. Okay, you can still see my screen. Still people are coming. Okay, I want to show you this. Can you see this screen? These are my points. This is when we did the emerald call. When I hit sapphire and Emily hit emerald and Deirdre Goulard hit emerald. Do you see my point journey? That's not linear. What does this look like? This looks awfully like that 1% curve, 1% better each day, doesn't it? And this looks a lot like that latent potential, doesn't it? Okay, that's me. Let's just see if this is common or uncommon. Okay, 1244. Emily's graphic is much prettier than mine. I know, shocker there, right? Okay, look at this. Do. Is it linear? No. Looks a lot like a compound effect, doesn't it? Getting better over time. Guess what? Emily read this book, Atomic Habits. Okay, let's take another example. Let's take Deirdre's. Okay, 1439. Well, looky here. Isn't that interesting? Low, compound effect, J curve. Anomaly? I think not. I remember Christina's points looked a lot like this too. Brittany's points, a lot like this too. Okay, I can stop sharing my screen now. If you just do not stop, this is an example of the compound effect. And it's a hallmark of any compounding process. And here's one of the things that he said that blew my mind. He said, the most powerful outcomes are often delayed. Let me say that again. The most powerful outcomes are often delayed. Think about our fearless leader, Brittany. It took her, I can't remember if it was 4 or 5 years to get her first jewel. And then in the next 12 months, she added 11 more. We run every day and nothing changes. We have somebody that's had years of autoimmune issues and they're sick of taking probio. They take two probio 5 a day and they think that they should be ready to run a marathon. No, you have to keep doing the consistent things, right? And we know in our business, 90 days to see a turnaround, but you will see the results. But we give up because we don't see it. That latent disappointment, right? Compound effect. And this is why it's so hard to build good habits, because it takes time, it takes proper understanding, proper expectation, keeping in mind the 1% graph day after day after day, that the results will come. And we don't want, because it's easy to get in the valley of disappointment, but when you see where you're headed, you can keep going. Okay. So I love what he says now. He says, listen, everybody, perk up. It does not matter how successful or unsuccessful you are right now. Let me say that again. It does not matter how successful or unsuccessful you are right now. What matters is whether your habits are putting you on the path towards success. You should be far more concerned with your current trajectory than with your current results. What are you doing now to get you where you want to go? And then he goes on to say, forget about the goals. Focus on your systems instead, because when you focus on the system, you will reach the goal. And does that set anybody else free? To me, that is the most freeing thing to hear, because I can control what I do. I cannot control the number that pops up in my back office. I can control what I put in my mouth. I can control, I can control the system. If I want to lose 5 pounds or 10 pounds, I don't focus on the 5 pounds. I focus on the system and what I'm going to do to get me that result. He uses the example from sports, right? In sports, the team, the goal is to have the most points, right? But what does the team do? They don't focus on the scoreboard the whole time. They focus on the actions that are going to get them the points. Did you hear me? They focus on the actions that are going to get them the points. Getting better each day and making sure you've got the proper systems. For example, consistent IPA every single day. Consistently casting vision so that you can have business conversations, so that you can develop business builders every single day. But when we focus on the goal so much, we can lose focus on the system, the actual steps that's going to get us there. And I loved this analogy. And if you listen to Craig Rochelle, he talked about this too. A lot of, his podcasts on habits, he got all the information from Atomic Habits, right? And he said, every team wants to win. Every athlete in the Olympics right now wants to get the gold, but there's only 3 on the podium and only 1 team won the Super Bowl, right? Winners and losers have the same goals. Everybody wants to win. Everybody comes in here thinking, I want to do well and reach my goals. But the only difference is the systems they follow. How many ambassadors do we have in Plexus? Thousands and thousands and thousands. The only difference between those that meet their goals and that don't is that they follow the systems day in and day out. Day in and day out, they follow systems consistently. And when you do that, you're free to not let your happiness, is what he said. He doesn't attach happiness to the goal. He attaches happiness to the process. And it is so incredibly freeing because Clear says you can fall in love with the process rather than the end result because you've given your permission to be happy because you know that your systems will get you your result. It's fantastic. And this, I don't know, this blew my mind too. The true long-term thinking is goal-less thinking. It's not about any single accomplishment. It's about the endless refinement and continuous improvement. Ultimately, it's your commitment to the process that will determine your progress. You will not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. And we'll talk about that in our discussion groups. What kind of systems do we have? Consistent IPA recruiting, retaining people, casting vision every single day to people so that you can have business conversations and develop business builders, coaching your team, developing business builders into leaders. When you focus on those systems, the results will come. Okay, that was just chapter 1, and I'm going to speed up chapter 2. You will not rise to the level of your goals, you'll fall to the level of your systems. Okay, chapter 2, how your habits shape your identity and vice versa. Okay, I'm going to share my screen one more time. Share. This kind of blew my mind. He says, we all have 3 layers of behavior change. There's 3 different ways that we can change our behavior, right? We have the outcome-based change, the process change, and identity change. And he said the problem, most of us have a hard time changing our habits because we're focusing on the wrong thing. Most of us focus on the outcome, the result. I want 3 joins. I want to rank up. I want 3 new level 1 business builders. And we neglect to address the most important part, what brings true change, and that's who you are, your identity. I want to show you something very quickly that I thought was very interesting. Some of you may recognize this. Oh, let me make this a little bit smaller. Anybody recognize this? Oh, the golden circle from Simon Sinek. Why, how, and what. I thought that this was very interesting because it was the same kind of thing. What is, the outcome, the result, what we're selling. The how is the process, right? And the why is the motivation, the reason behind what we're doing. And it's the same circle that Clear is talking about. Identity, process, and outcome. And as we focus on becoming the person that achieves these outcomes, everything starts to change. Okay, this is actually very, very, very deep. And I hope you guys spent some time thinking about this. Okay, changing beliefs about yourself. Did that ring any bells with anybody? AKA taking yourself through a thought model. Have we talked about this once or twice before? He says, your outcome that we focus on is changing the results, right? The changing your process is what you're going to do to get there, right? Going to the gym, messaging 5 people a day, 5 vision casting messages a day. But he says that the deepest layer is changing your identity, changing your beliefs, changing your thoughts, changing your self-image, what you believe about yourself. And when you do that, freedom comes. And that's actually a biblical principle. And if you follow me at all, you've heard me say that a million times. He says that the most effective way to change your habits is to focus not on what you want to achieve, but who you want to become. And he talked about the cigarette example. Do you remember this? Someone offers you a cigarette, say that you're trying to quit smoking. Okay, you're trying to quit smoking and someone offers you a cigarette and you say, "Oh no, I'm trying to quit." And then he says, someone offers you a cigarette and you say, "Oh no, I'm not a smoker." Do you feel the difference in the weight of the conviction? I'm not a smoker. Why in the world would I want a cigarette? It changes everything. Think about this. I don't have business builders, so I don't have business builders, versus I am growing into a leader of leaders with a thriving team of leaders that are duplicating leaders. Your identity is so important to lasting change and habit change because your behaviors are a reflection of your identity. What you do, he says, is an indication of the type of person you believe you are, either consciously or unconsciously. As a man thinks in his heart, so he is. So he says the goal is simply acting like the kind of person you want to be. Goes back to the thought model, right? You've got the ability to choose your thoughts. And he says that there's tons of reasons to struggle with this, with habits, maintaining good habits. You're sick, you're busy, vacation, kids, but over the long run, the real reasons you fail to stick to your habits is that your identity, your thoughts get in the way. You don't see yourself developing business builders. You don't see yourself being disciplined at the gym. You don't see yourself as a jewel. He goes on to say you have to be willing to unlearn and learn so that you can grow. So where does identity come from? He says, okay, now as a believer, as a Christian, my identity comes from God. He's the creator. He's the only one that has the right to define his creation. And I believe that as you come into your identity in Christ, everything else can fall into place. Clear says it does come from your worldview. It does come from your presuppositions, right? And it also comes in, there's this chicken and the egg. We talked about this on the Ruby Mastermind and on the Gold Mastermind calls. Your identity comes from your habits because every single action we take, he says, is a vote for who you think you are. Your habits are how you embody your identity. You go to the gym because you're an athlete. You count your macros because you're great at nutrition. You coach your team because you're a leader. You send out vision casting messages because you are developing business builders. You're a diamond. You keep doing this over and over again and developing people because you're a professional network marketer. The more you repeat a behavior, the more you reinforce your identity. And I thought it was so interesting that in Latin, that root means repeated beingness. Whatever your identity is right now is because you have proof, your actions, right? And so he says it requires continuously editing your beliefs and upgrading and expanding your identity, right? Constant thought model work. And we talked about this on the Gold Mastermind call. You have to have the proper thoughts and the proper actions. You have to have the identity and the habits. You can't wait for it to be perfect on either side. you have to just get 1% better each day, right? Okay. Every time you send out a vision casting message, you're reinforcing the fact that you can develop business builders and you're becoming a jewel. Every time you invite someone to an opportunity event, develop a silver, have a rank up on your team, it provides evidence of a new identity. Every time you send out messages, you reinforce your identity of being bold, of having confidence, of serving others, because habits are the path to changing your identities. But again, you need both. You need the thoughts and you need the action, Clear says, okay? So he says the first thing is that you need to decide the type of person you want to be. What are you thinking? You've got the ability to change your thoughts and who you want to be. What do you stand for? What are your values? What are your priorities? You know, a year ago, we did the branding mastermind. My mission holds up. It's true. My mission is to help people be and do and have all that God has for them. And I raise up leaders throughout my team who are doing the same. I have decided that is who I am. That's what I'm going to be. What do you stand for? What are your values? What are your priorities? And then prove it with small wins. Okay, so I'm a leader that raises up leaders throughout my organizations. Diamonds reach out every day about the opportunity because they're so passionate and certain about what this business can do for their people. Every day, casting vision to a dream teamer or a happy product user. So guess what? Every day, I have a goal, a set number. That's what I'm doing with my dream teamers and happy product users. Later, okay, we're going to talk about that later. So the question is, are you becoming the type of person you want to become? You need to know who you want to be. You have the ability and the power to change your beliefs about yourself. The question is, will you? Your identity is not set in stone. You have a choice in every moment. You can choose your identity and reinforce it with the habits if you are intentional and make that choice. And then this is where the tears come. Because he says, it's not about reaching the goal. It's not about the paycheck. It's not about the rank. It's not about, losing weight or getting this or getting that. Although I love all those things. And I'm really excited to see my name as Diamond Michelle Stuchel. It's about becoming who you were meant to be, becoming who you really want to be. Not the title, but actually becoming that person. And then the title follows. Because here's the deal. Remember 12-week year? We're at the end of the Olympics. They became champions every time they went to the rink, every time they didn't get up. The trophy was just the evidence. The rank is just the evidence. It's about becoming that person. Ultimately, your habits matter because they help you become the type of person you want to be. We've got lots of great questions. I hope you guys are ready to discuss. That's all I have time for tonight. So at this time, we're going to break off for discussion. And I hope you guys have a great time. Oh, Brittany's team outside of Christina and April is staying here.
Yeah, so you should, if April's your nearest diamond, then you should have a Zoom ID to hop on her discussion. And same for Christina. If Christina's your nearest diamond, then you go with her. And if I'm your nearest diamond, you hang out right here. Thank you, Michelle. That was awesome.
You're welcome.
So good.
It was really hard to summarize those chapters for me. That was very
fantastic job.
Well, thank you. All righty. Are we stable yet? No. Okay. We're kind of stable now. Great. Okay. So let's talk. And please feel free. We want to hear from you. This is discussion. This is not Jewel only. This is open for discussion. So we want to hear. Okay. Chapter 1.